Evet, katılımcılarımızın gelmesini bekliyoruz. Evet, merhabalar herkese. Hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün İtalya'nın resmi ve yetkili kurumu Uni-Italia'nın sunumuyla İtalya'da lisans ve yüksek lisansa dair her şeyi anlatmak için Chiara ve Marco bizlerle olacak. Lütfen sorularınızı soru cevap bölümünden yönlendiriniz. Sunum sonrasında cevaplanacak. Teşekkür ederiz. Herkese iyi webinarlar. Yes, Chiara, the stage is yours now.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chiara, and we're going to see today the Italian higher education system, the structures, the opportunities, the condition of access, and more. Then we'll have some times to check together some answers, questions, doubts you may have. So what are we about to see? We're going to see what our country, Italy, has to offer. What is Uni-Italia, my association? The types of higher education you can find in Italy, enrollment procedures, the opportunities you have, scholarships, which is also always a very interesting topic. What is Universitali, which is a very important platform website for international students, and we can check some data. So what is the first things that comes to mind when someone thinks of Italy? We can consider maybe pizza, football, the nice weather, nice beaches, or ice cream, food in general, maybe wine. But what I want you to focus on are numbers. Not that fun, but very useful numbers when you're considering about studying in Italy. We have 65 million of visitors per year. We have 58 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which is the largest number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites that one country can have right now. And we are the 8th world economy. Those are all numbers that, if you want to consider about studying in Italy, can make sense. You know, you can want to study in Italy because of that numbers as well. And also more numbers, we can get more numbers. We have years of seniority and prestige. One of the, maybe the most interesting aspect about Italy is that we have the oldest university in Europe, is the University of Bologna. It's almost 1,000 years old, but we also have many universities that are recognized in Europe and worldwide as centers of excellence in research and training. Those numbers you can see here in this presentation are just numbers, but they can get you like a closer look of what we're talking about. We're talking about 1,000 years of educational training, of research training, of professors teaching different fields of studies. And we have every year more and more universities getting to the top 100, top 10 universities. And that means that you can find a suitable situation depending on what you want to study. And you can find it everywhere almost. What does Uni-Italia do? My association, Uni-Italia, we as association work to make it as easy as possible for international students like you participating now to have the once in a lifetime opportunity to come and realize your academic dreams, whether you're starting them with a bachelor program, you want to continue them with a master's degree, or you want to to a research program, PhD program with us. What we do, we provide information like we're doing today on the Italian higher education system, and we guide students through the procedures that must be followed to start or continue your academic life. So the enrollment procedures, whether or not you need to ask for a visa permission, what you have to do following those steps once you arrive in Italy, and so on. So we lead students through the correct institutions enrollment procedures and assist you. You can find us for the moment in our headquarters. We are based in Italy. We are at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. But you can also find us in Iran, in India. We have 2 offices in Mumbai and New Delhi. You can find us in Vietnam. You can find us in China with 4 offices. From now on, you can also find us in Colombia and hopefully somewhere else very soon. So back to the Italian higher education system, we should consider that as a binary system because we have 2 very big distinctions. We have what we call the AFAM institution, AFAM, and the university institutions. University institutions are the most similar to yours as well. The Italian universities, they have public universities, private universities, online universities, higher schools and institutions with special charters, so those institutions that are very specific teaching qualities. While AFAM institutions are a very specific sector of higher education that performs activities of training, production, and research on artistic fields like visual arts, music, dance, drama, design, and sectors. And we are going to start from here because it can be quite unique. And it's equally interesting as the universities that many people are more used to know about. AFAM education, so as I was saying, are conservatories, fine arts academies, the institutes of music, and state academies of dance and dramatic arts, which means that you can have a very specific higher education training in these sectors, in this field, in the legally recognized academies. More specific, we have almost 150 institutions with legal value. Legal value means that the degree is equivalent to university degrees. If you finalize your studies in an Academy of Fine Arts, your degree will be the same as someone who studied in the University of Fine Arts. The majority of our AFAM institutions are public, but you also have, of course, private ones. And you also have those pre-academic courses, which means that if you're not ready to start this artistic career, you can do 1 year prior to the beginning of pre-academic course when you get trained to start in an AFAM institution. And then we go back to those universities. We have almost 100 universities in Italy. The university higher education system in Italy is organized in 3 cycles. There's both work for AFAM institutions and universities as well. This distinction in 3 cycles is in accordance with the principles of what we call the European higher education area. You see that we ask you to have 12 years of pre-university education. It's what we do in Italy. We study 12 years before starting university. And then you have a 3+2 year possibility of studying. So you can start with a bachelor degree. We call it laurea, and it's a 3-year program. And then you have the master degree, which is a 2-year program. This is a very tricky situation because in English, master programs are generally 1 year. This is just because of the translation of the word. We do not have a better one. So please consider when thinking about Italy that a master program is usually a 2-year. You do also have 1-year master program, but it's not the same thing. And then you can either do something else and you can start a single cycle degree program, which is 5 to 6 years. And they are called Laurea Magistrale a Ciclo Unico. And they are very specific faculties, like for example, medicine, law, architecture as well. And so it differs on what you want to do. And then you can have a PhD program or research program, and then you can continue your studies. So this is the general timeline of study possibility in Italy. And if you want to study in English, because you're not fluent in Italian, you do not know Italian, it's not a problem because you do not need to know Italian to study in Italy because you have over 500 undergraduate and postgraduate courses, but I would dare to say almost 600 right now this year. And all of them are entirely in English, which means that you can come to Italy and start your academic life in English with no problems. The website where you can see this information, all the courses we offer in English, is this one. You can see here is www.universitaly.it. It's a very important one because we are going to go back there. This is the website I was mentioning at the beginning, where international students must register in order to complete the application procedures. And why? Let's go back to why. Why study in Italy? Not only for seniority and prestige, but also for more numbers. We have more numbers. You have a high standard of education that does not involve high tuition fees. What does it mean? That you can study in Italy and realize that educational fees are lower than many other European countries or also American ones, which means that you can start from a range, always considering that as a range of a minimum of 900 euros per 1 year to a maximum of 4,000 euros if we are considering public universities. Private universities tend to cost, of course, more. About the cost of living in general, students need approximately 8,000 euros per year to cover accommodation, food, transport, leisure, and other expenses. This is a very generic information. I'm going to be very honest. You will need to realize the city you want to live in, the life you want to have there. If you want to do sports, if you want to go out every night, if you want to try restaurants and everything, you will need to budget a little bit your expenses and consider that some cities will be more expensive. At the capital, Rome, where I live, it's a beautiful city, but it's an expensive one. Milan, which is very famous for very important universities, can be another very expensive city. So we always try to take this information carefully about the living costs and the average amount of euros you need to live in Italy, because it depends on the city. Why? Part two, you should stay in Italy. What can you do in Italy? Which opportunities you have? You can travel and discover the country and the Schengen countries of the European Union. Why? Because you will have the permit to stay in Italy for study reasons. And with that permit, you can travel and discover the European Union, which is an amazing opportunity. You can work part-time during your stay, which is sometimes really helpful. You can work up to 20 hours per week. And of course, that depends on your knowledge, your previous experiences, your level of Italian. You can find many, many different types of jobs opportunities, which will allow you, for example, going back to the living costs, to adjust yourself a little bit more and find a suitable work part-time. Will give you time to study and work. And finally, if you really like Italy, you want to stay a little bit more, you want to find out if you can work here, you have 1 year to find a job. That's why, because when you finish your studies, you can convert your residence permit into a residence permit for job seeking purposes. And then you will have 12 months, the residence permit will be valid for 12 months more, so that you can try to find a job, which is a really good opportunity. Still going on, what else? Why Italy? Because you can also start working and having like those really useful opportunity situation while studying, because you can take an internship program. They can be compulsory or non-compulsory. Generally speaking, internship is not a job, which means if they are from the university, you may not be paid for your work. What you're gaining are experience, curriculum, and those can be used for further experience. But also if they're compulsory, but sometimes also you can convert the non-compulsory internship, you can convert the hours you spend working into credits, exam credits. So you will have this, you can adjust your study plan and insert the internship program as well inside, which is a really good opportunity to learn more about Italian companies, international companies in Italy as well, and study and work. And we go to maybe the most anticipated questions of today. So what can I do to study in Italy? Can I get scholarship? You can. You have different options of scholarships in Italy. You have the scholarship from the higher education institutions, so our universities and AFAM institution. You have scholarship from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, which is called the Study in Italy Scholarship Program. You have the scholarship issued by regional bodies for what we call in English the right to study, but in Italian would be diritto allo studio, DSU. And then we have this very special program, which is called Invest Your Talent in Italy, which is open to Turkish students and few other countries. So one by one, gonna see what we can have. For example, scholarship issued by higher education institutions are scholarships that can be fully funded, for example, half funded, or they can just pay your tuition fees. Terms and conditions depend on the respective institution, so I cannot give you a very general information about that. You should consider that most of the higher education institutions scholarship are merit-based, so it will depend on your Italian knowledge, English knowledge, or maybe depending on your bachelor degrees, bachelor diploma, or it also can be based on your high school diploma. It depends on a little bit on why you're applying, what are you applying to. And here we have some examples. Politecnico in Milan, the University of Milan, maybe a very famous one, you know, for example, has 3 different scholarships for international students. Those who are what that we are seeing here are specific to international students only. You will be competing with other international students. The Platinum Scholarship for Politecnico in Milan, for example, is a fully funded one. The Gold Scholarship, for example, it would be half-funded scholarship, and the Silver one would be a little bit less. Another example is going to be the Don't Miss Your Chance Scholarship from University La Sapienza in Rome. And Calabria University is the Unical Admission Scholarship. What you can see is that I tried to check to show you 3 universities from 3 different regions of Italy. So from the north, the center, and the south of Italy. It's just an example. You have many more scholarships. You just have to check. Every university will have a dedicated website for scholarship opportunities and grant opportunities. Will be divided in sections like international students, merit-based, income-based, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And call for application for specific students. Sometimes you may be in a specific call for scholarship opportunities. It depends on the university. Application procedures, deadlines will all be completely in charge of the university. So it's always the best thing to ask directly to the university for information. The regional scholarship for the right to study, as I was saying, this DSU, as you can say here, Diritto allo Studio, are scholarships that are both for Italian international students, which means their competition is a little bit higher, I'm not gonna lie. We have 20 regions in Italy, which means that we have 20 different right to study scholarships, which is nice. Those are all the so-called income-based scholarships. So it depends on your family income or your personal one. Students can present the personal income when they're in Italy if they provide for themselves. And depending on the income, they can access the scholarship opportunities. You can have free accommodation, you can have free meals, and you can get exemptions from tuition fees, those fees that we were talking before, starting from a range of 900 to 4,000 euros per year. Accommodation is a very burning point because maybe we are also very used to see movies where we have university campus where students live all together. This is not something we do in Italy. We do have university accommodations, but not all of our universities offer accommodation. That might be the trickiest question. and maybe the scariest thing to do, find an accommodation in Italy. But we have many students that will find an accommodation, will change accommodation, find another students to replace the accommodation. And with the DSU scholarship, you can sometimes get this accommodation. And I believe we will have many questions about that. So we can go back to these questions in a few minutes, because I also want to talk to you about the scholarship from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. It actually opened yesterday, and it will close in 1 month, the June 9th. So it opens every year for 1 month. We have tons of applications, but you can see for which programs you can apply to. You can apply for this scholarship, which is a fully funded scholarship, 800 euros every month for the first year, and then you can apply for a second one, and which means that you more or less can live with this scholarship opportunity. You can start when you apply for a master's degree, which means that students for bachelor programs are not allowed to apply. You can apply for master's programs, PhD programs. You can also study Italian language classes and use these scholarship opportunities, and you can be doing research progress. You have some limitations. The first, most important one, which is quite general for international students, is there is a minimum level required of language knowledge. Either you're studying in English or you're studying in Italian. The minimum level is always set at level B2, which will be IELTS level 7. And we also have these age limits. If master programs, you can apply to the scholarship, but must not be over 28 years. PhD programs, the same. You can apply, but you must be younger than 30 years. And you can take the scholarship opportunities for 3 months if you are doing Italian language classes. This is the website at the bottom of the page, but you can just type the research bar, study in Italy scholarship, and it will be for probably the first results. You will read the whole application procedures. You will see that there are specific scholarship opportunities inside the same call for application, and you can check it. Finally, one of the most important one, which I'm very happy to share with you, is the Invest Your Talent program in Italy. It's an opportunity to develop skills through a range of masters and postgraduate courses in English. It's for few countries only. It's like 17 countries in the whole world. Turkey is one of them, which is a great opportunity. You have the chance to study in prestigious Italian universities. We have more than 20 universities participating in the program. The program is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Uni-Italia as well. This is the website. What do you need? You need your English level certificate, and you will need your bachelor program, because this starts from master's program. The field of studies are engineering, advanced technologies, architecture, design, economics, and management. You can see at the website here that you have the previous call for application. The call for application already closed for next September, but you can check the questions, the call for application, you can see the courses, you can see the field of studies, and you can try to figure out if it's something that might suit you for next year, which will be great because it's not very popular, unfortunately. And then we are like summing a little bit up so we can go back to questions in a few minutes. I'm gonna try to summarize like the whole process that generally takes 1 year in 5 key stages. So you wanna study in Italy, we start by searching for the right course of study. So you go to the website I was showing you at the beginning, www.universitaly.it, and you start searching for the courses in English, assuming you do not want to study in Italian, of course. You go there, you will have the list of all the courses we offer in English with all the Italian universities. You will check not only the name of the course in specific, you will see the number of the years, if it's in presence or online classes, and you will have the link to the university website. So you will have to be redirected directly to the right page, which is sometimes very, very useful because university websites can be very confusing. I'm sure about that in Italy, not sure about the rest of the world. And so once you have an idea of how many universities you want to do, they have, for example, engineering programs, you check the university website. This is step number 2. And you search for application procedures, requirements, language certificates. Are they required? Yes, no. Will they take a test? Yes, no. Do we need my bachelor diploma, my high school diploma? And then you see the whole thing you need to know about that. Then start number 3, you start the pre-evaluation process on the university website. So you let the international office university let you know what you want, what do you do, if your curriculum is a good one, and you wait for the results. When you have the results back, which means you have been accepted, you go back to the university portal we were mentioning before, and you register there, and you do what is called the pre-enrollment procedure. You will kind of apply again via this portal, and thanks to that, you will make the university and your consulate or embassy communicate with each other and let each other know that an international student named Chiara is going to apply for this university. This university has accepted me, and then we are waiting for the okay from the embassy and consulate for visa. And then you start, while you wait for this communication to happen, you start to prepare your visa documentation, which is a very long procedure. So I suggest you do it quickly and you start with some time before getting like at the end of May, June, July. Actually, pre-enrollment procedures on the university portal are already open. They will close at the end of November, but please consider doing everything if you want to study starting next September in Italy, which would be great. Please consider doing that by the end of July. Do everything, apply, pre-enroll, and start doing preparation of visa documentation. Really few last information. We have one difference that I want to explain, hoping that makes sense on the Uni-Italia portal. We have 2 distinctions. You have for students who might be interested in studying a bachelor or master programs, and students interested in studying a medicine program, for example, so the single cycle degrees program. So how do you do that? Students who want to study, for example, philosophy or mathematics, bachelor or master programs, you can send application procedures to as many universities as you want. Let's say 15 universities as a philosophy or mathematics program you may like. You apply to all of them because you have the requirements for all of them. You've been accepted, let's say, to 6 or 7 different universities, one in Turin, one in Rome, one in Milan, and so on. So you have plenty of options to choose, but you will have to choose only one for the final step that we were seeing before. This is the pre-enroll via the portal, university portal website. Why is that? Because we are going to make only one university communicate with with your embassy or consulate. So you have to choose only one university to apply to after the final general information. If you want to study the single cycle degree programs with the most important one, let's say the most famous one might be medicine in English in Italy, those are degrees that generally have entrance test. I know that's true also in Turkey. So what happens that you can, in this specific case for medicine in English, you can apply to several universities and then put several options. Why is that? Because it depends on the test results. The concrete example is for medicine is that we have an exam for foreigners, which is called IMAT test. It was this way until last year. We're waiting for the final information about how it's going to be this year. The IMAT test is the official test for international students wanting to study in English medicine in Italy. Students will take one exam. They can do it in a home country, or they can travel to a nearby country or to Italy to take the exam. depending on the final result, they will have a score, and depending on the score, a list of universities that were selected by the students can accept it or no. For example, let me see, medicine in Perugia University has a minimum score which is 25, while Rome University can be 22. Your score is 22, and you get access to Rome University and not to the other one. And this is the exact same reason why in this specific case on the University portal, you will have to possibility to check more options. I hope it's clear. If it's not, we're gonna see it together again in a few seconds. Go back to some data, statistic information. Those are always numbers. I do not like to talk about numbers, but we are always talking about numbers. So we're gonna do the same. We have 37 Italian universities submitting to the 2022 QS ranking. This data is a little bit old, but it's good for today. We have, for example, you can see numbers here. The Sapienza University of Rome is the first in the world for classical studies and ancient history. It's a really nice number. Right? University of Milan, top 100 for life science and medicine, Bocconi. You see numbers and statistics that will always make the university very important. Do not forget that we have many other universities. We have 100 universities, 150 AFAM institutions. They may not be in the international rankings, but they may have excellencies in terms of professors, research programs, subject studies that may not be found on international ranking, but may be very good for you. So try to have an open mind about that. And I'm gonna give you the few data. So this is the general email we use for students. It's student@uniitalia.com.it. Follow us on our social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can check our website. And now we're going to do the Q&A session. But if you have very complicated personal questions, something you want to talk about, maybe you need more time to discuss it, you can send me an email and we will be replying in the next couple of days and we start the conversation. I want to really finish and then we go back to maybe this page. And by saying that it may seem really hard to find a way to study in Italy, but if you have time and if you are patient and if you do the right questions to the right person, like the university relation office or the international office for Erasmus program or mobility international students, and you can do it by your own and do not need to be afraid of anything. Okay. So if everyone is fine about that, I'm gonna try to check the information. The questions, let me see. Okay. Hello, hi, which university in Italy would you recommend for hospitality management and gastronomy? We have a really important one. It's maybe the most famous one is called, can I write it down? Maybe I can. Well, you can send me an email. I'm gonna write it down to you. I don't wanna create a mess in the chat webinar. It's called the University of Pollenzo for Gastronomic Sciences, which is a really good one. Let me go on. Hello, welcome. Oh, no, this is my. Okay, let's go here. Domanda risposta. Where is the best place to study in Italian in Italy? That's a really good question. You can study Italian. We have many opportunities, but the best options are two foreign universities. They are called University for Foreigners in Siena, the University for Foreigners in Perugia. Those universities are specifically focused on the Italian studies, study Italian language and then you can focus on being a mediator and everything. I hope that my colleague is writing down the name of the universities. Hi, I'm not reading the name, I'm sorry, because I'm worried that I will mispronounce that. I want to study psychology in Italy and the program is in Italian. I would appreciate if it's just something to do, to study chills. Okay, well, you should, if I'm not mistaken, we have one, unfortunately only one, program of psychology in English in Italy, and it's in Padova universities. And I'm sure we do, if I'm mistaken with Padova University, might be something else. You can check at the University portal to see the only one course we have in English. But about the chills exam, which is really good, means that you are very, you already know what you want to do and where you want to do. The chills certificate is the official Italian language test. You can take it at those universities I was mentioning before, the University for Foreigners in Siena, University for Foreigners in Perugia. They're in Italian, they are called Università per Stranieri di Siena and Università per Stranieri di Perugia. Next questions. We have, if I completed my bachelor degree in English, do I have to take IELTS to prove my proficiency? This is a really good one. Thank you. Let's talk about this a little bit. Okay, so when we consider scholarship application procedures, we need to consider who's paying the scholarship. If we are talking about universities, in general, universities will have different requirements. For example, in many cases, Italian universities will accept a bachelor degree in English and will not ask you to take the IELTS test, because your proficiency is proven by the fact that you have been studying 3 years for the bachelor programs in English, which means that you are more than capable of studying in English because you're already doing that. This is almost always true, sometimes can change, and this is why it's always very specific to find the specific answer to your questions. It depends on the scholarship programs. And it depends on the university. And sometimes it's gonna say one thing more. If the scholarship is from a university, my suggestion is to ask directly to one person in the International Relations Office or International Students Welcoming Office to answer your questions, because you might just have to upload your degree in English and that will be more than fine. They might be, for example, asking you to take an oral exam, just doing like this, virtual conversation for like half an hour, and that would be proof of your English knowledge. And it depends. So that's all I can get. And for Italian as well, if you're aware, if you know Italian, you may not need to take any certification. It might be enough to prove of your knowledge with an oral examination with someone from the university, and that's it. What else do we want? Is there anyone? Let's see if there's something we can respond that might be interesting for someone else. Like, for example, do you have athlete scholarship? This is for someone who might not have been looking at the Q&A session. We do not have athlete scholarship in Italy, unfortunately. Would love to, but not yet, even though we're very, very, very fan of sports, but not yet. Do we offer master programs in English? Yes, as I was saying, actually we are keener to have master programs in English, but we do also have undergraduate programs in English. Okay, so for example, I've completed, go back to the Q&A session that are not solved yet. If I completed my bachelor degree in English, yeah, okay. I cannot see the question. Okay, oh, sorry. If I want to study English language and literature at Sapienza University of Rome, you suggest it's at the meeting in Izmir. I'm really happy to see that. I'm seeing someone of you. Good. There is an inconsistency between the requirements for knowledge of Italian on your site and information provided on the university on website. Even though we do not apply for a scholarship in general, it's possible to ask for an Italian certificate in the future. Okay, thank you. So when we have differences between what I say and what the university says, it's always the university wins. It's just this typical parents-daughter relationship. They always have the last word. So if they ask for you for an Italian certificate, you have to prove one. And even if you are not asking for the scholarship, that's a case. Yet, if it's not mandatory and if the level is very low, you should write to the university and ask for clarification about that. Do they really need that? It's just something they like encouraging you to have because would make a good look on the resume during the application procedures. It depends a little bit. I hope that makes sense. And I think I do this and this. We have no open questions. Let me go back to those questions we have already answered. Maybe we have something that might be interesting for all of all those here. Okay, accommodation options. For example, I was saying that a little bit before. In general, we do not offer campus life situation in Italy. You will not access to University of Sapienza and have a residence campus there where all international students live. This is a very, very American dream situation. We do not have the spaces in Italy to have that. Some universities will have accommodation residences. Those residents may be, for example, as I was just mentioning, 2 of them before. In Rome, we have 1 residence for students, and we have 1 in Politecnico in Torino, which is also for, if I'm not wrong, University of Turin students as well. And you have also in Milan. It depends on the city, it depends on the university, and it will not be like a campus. It will more be like 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and maybe the shared kitchen. If that's something you really need because you feel more comfortable knowing that you are in a protected space, which makes total sense. If you believe that you will have less problems in getting to know people because you will be with other international students or Italian students that maybe are living abroad, so they will need to like have a new community. You should start by checking which university offers campuses. On the other hand, it may seem scary, but we have students can find apartments. You can have shared apartments with other international students. How you do that? You sometimes can find them by your own while on your home country, like now, for example. But my personal suggestion is that you do that while in Italy. So, for example, one of the documentation required for the visa application procedure is that you have the proof of an accommodation in Italy. This proof does not need to be permanent. You can have it like for 2 weeks. Like, for example, you book a hotel for 2 weeks. You are staying at a friend's house for 2-3 weeks. In the meantime, we're in Italy, in Pisa, in Roma, in Naples, you search for apartments, rooms, accommodation. How you do that? You go to the university and check for those informational like walls where you will find all of other students looking for roommates, looking for Thunder exchange programs in languages so you can learn Italian in the meantime. You can use, of course, real estate program agencies, of course. You can use Facebook. I know it's not maybe the best answer you can get. It may be scary, but it's not that impossible. One question about very specific, I hope makes sense. If not, please answer me more in detail, your concerns and problems about that. I applied Polit and Polimi so far, but I got rejected because of my GPA. Okay. Thank you for that. The GPA is a very it's not critical, but it's a very specific situation. It depends on the university. I believe that many universities will put the GPA score, the minimum required. So it depends. In my personal opinion, is I mean, I do not have my personal opinion about the GPAs because it's not what I do. Which universities can apply? I cannot name a list of universities. I'm sorry, because I do not know how to and would not make mistakes, but it depends on what you want to do. You start by searching again what you want to do. I believe it's something related to engineering programs, and then search if other universities may have a lower requirements, in this case, of GPAs. Can I get a part-time job without knowing Italian or students in English? This is the very good questions. I'm gonna be very honest. The answer is yes, but I'm gonna be also really honest as well. You should bet it's better if you learn Italian. Why is that? Because possibilities with the Italian language are endless. You can work starting from the bar behind your apartment, which may not be the most sophisticated job, but it's an easy, well-paid, funny job. And it's okay because you're living next door. So it's perfect for you. That would require Italian language. But you could be working at the universities, you could be working in the library, you could be working in many international companies, or you could be working in Italian companies that will not require the knowledge of Italian. So yes, you can work part-time without knowing Italian, but you should not be frustrated if it gets you a little bit more to find a proper job because you do not know the language. I mean, I hope you understand. Can apply to mechanical engineering master degree program in Italy with the GPA below 3. Hi there, I'm not sure. It depends on the universities you're applying to. This is a very specific question. If you want, you can send me an email at, where am I? students@unitalia.it. Give me the list of universities you were wishing to apply to. And if you cannot find this information, we can check it together. By heart, I cannot know the answer now. I'm sorry about that, but we'll be really happy to answer via email later. Let me see if we have other generic questions we might need. Any promotional scholarship available for Turkish students? We were talking about that before. I'm gonna go back because maybe it's not that makes sense. You have the Invest Your Talent program in Italy, which is specific for Turkish students and is specific for master program, which is not what something you're searching for. You should be looking at the higher education institutional scholarship, the regional studies scholarship, and see scholarship for international students. Specifically for Turkish students, it depends on the university. Generally, I would say no. The most specific one we have is this Invest Your Talent program in Italy. So I hope that answered your questions. Is there a working permit for students studying in Italy? You will be using your student's permit and be working part-time. The reason why you're working part-time is because you're a student and you do not have the working permit, but you're having a studying permit. And that's why you'll be working only 20 hours per week. If you would be working more, it would mean that you do not have time to study, and so therefore you do not have the study residence permit. I hope that makes the logic make sense. Do you provide career opportunities as well? As Uni-Italia, no. As my association, we do not do that, but many Italian universities, almost everyone, now have the career opportunity office. They do career days. They help you find the internship program. If we go back to what we were saying before, so what can we do? You can do internship programs. Those internship programs help you get to know some Italian companies. Why that? Because you start by talking to the university. Your university will make you in contact with companies they know, companies they have relationship with, and this is the best option you have to start building your career in Italy. It's a really good opportunity. Many Italian students miss these opportunities because we are lazy, but I suggest you do not miss that one. We have new questions. Are you coming again to the fair in November? I hope so. I really hope so, and we'll let you know. I think we do. My son is in preparatory class at Uni-Italia. We went to Uni-Liceo. We're really happy. What is your recommendation about taking a maturità diploma and apply to Italian university to study Italian versus okay, this is really interesting question. Thank you. The very important thing is try, it's a really good question. Taking a maturità diploma, which is the Italian bachelor diploma, high school diploma for those who are not sensible to the subject, is a really good opportunity. I'm really glad that someone is studying Italian at the Italian high school in Istanbul. I know that there are universities in Italy that accept the high school diploma from the IMI Liceo without considering the student an Italian one. That would be the best option. If not, it depends a little bit on what the student wants to do. If he wants to or she wants to study medicine, it's one case, because as we were saying, they have this international test, and Italian students will have a national test as well. So it can be a little bit more specific. I would be happy to discuss this more specifically via email, maybe in a few days. If you can send me an email, I'm gonna show again the email. So if you're not satisfied with what I'm saying, you can always send me an email. I hope you can see that. Do you know when the DSU scholarship will be announced? Also, should all documents be in Italian? Grazie. Okay, so the DSU scholarship will be announced, I believe, in a few months. And documents should be in Italian. Yes, this is why there is a high competition. It might be considered a little bit more complicated, because as we are competing with Italian university, Italian students, and you are applying to an Italian regional body, you will have to be patient and translate the documentation and go sometimes to the Italian offices to get some help. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Let's see. Is age always a problem for a master degree or PhD? Thank you. No, it's not a problem at all. And age limitations sometimes are set for scholarship opportunities because of the belief, if we want to say so, that younger persons may be more in trouble to find a way to pay for themselves. That's why when bodies like universities of government set an age limit, they are generally considered for work reasons. Let's say that a 42 years old person, for example, myself, I'm 28 in a month. I've been working a little bit in the past year. I could afford possibly my education if I wanted to start again studying a master program. That's why there is an age limit for students in a master program. Maybe another colleague of mine from the university, which is 25, hasn't been working because just finished studying, and she or he cannot pay for the education program. That's why there is an age limit for PhD and master's degree. For scholarship, but you can apply, of course, and this is not always true for all the scholarship opportunities. It depends on the university. Let me see if we have something else. I believe we almost have everything. If you have other questions, again, because we only have 5 minutes left, so I can answer maybe 1 or 2 more questions if we have something. And so if we do not have time to respond to you, to check information with you, to go to university web portal together, you can do that by sending us an email. It's of course for free. We would be happy to help you. We do that. We try to help you get here. So feel free to ask everything you want to know, starting from information about university classes to how to find out about. Do you have, this is a good question. Do you have diploma equivalency in European countries after graduating from Italy? Depends. Depends, generally speaking, no, and it depends what we're talking about. If you mean like you study medicine and you go to France and you want to work as a doctor in France, this is a very it's a different situation. It depends on what are you studying and what you want to do with that diploma. If you have a bachelor diploma and you want to go study a master program in Spain, yes, you can do, because your master program, your bachelor degree is equivalent to a European one, to the Spanish one, because we are using the same higher education system. And so we recognize each other's diplomas. If you want to use it to work, that's another question. It can be a little bit more complicated, although there are many similarities, so it may take less time for you to have the equivalency. I hope that makes sense and you understand my answer. I'm 37 years old and considering for a PhD in cinema. It's been tremendously productive. Okay, it's been. I'm sorry. I hope your situation was tremendously productive. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. Well, good luck. Send me an email if you have questions. We can discuss about that personally later. And again, my name is Chiara, and my association is called Uni-Italia. And I hope you found everything you need to do. And I think we're okay.
Thank you very much for the great presentation, Chiara. It was very informative for the attendees and you covered all of the questions. Thank you for your answers. And also I would like to thank the participants as well. Teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar katılımınız için. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Uni-Italia ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşmış olduğum mail adresinden Marco'ya ve Chiara'ya ulaşabilirsiniz. Bir sonraki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Marco and Chiara. It was very good to have you in our webinars as well, and look forward to see you in November.
Thank you, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.